Well, I've been doing a bit too many talking head videos lately, so I figured it's time to get back to the basics on the channel. And so today we've got a Scantron 88P Plus test scoring machine. This thing's got a little problem that it's not feeding correctly exactly. It works okay. Let me turn it on and I'll show you. So whenever you feed a form from the side, it should feed all the way through and then kick out the other side, but it's not getting kicked free. See how it gets hung up and I've got to pull it out over there. I figured it'd be good to crack this thing open, see what's going on inside, see if I can fix it, and also just in general take a look at what they got going on in here. This is an old machine. You might have never seen one of these. I'm sure you've seen Scantron forms unless you're under the age of probably 25. Some of those kids might not have ever seen Scantrons, but those of us who are a little older, Scantrons obviously used for testing, multiple choice questions, stuff like that. And this is one type of Scantron machines. They've got a whole bunch of different kinds. And again, this one is not very new. Now, first, I want to see if I can take this top panel off very easily. So got screws on this side. You know, whenever they made these things, they didn't cheap out. I will say that. Okay, so let's see, can we take this top off? All right, there's the internals. So on the back of the front panel, it looks like just wiring for the switches. That's all I see here. So you've got buttons right and left and some LEDs, and that looks to be it. There's nothing else going on the front panels. You've got some grounding, you've got wiring the switches, and then wiring for the LEDs. You've got a roller down here, and it looks like maybe there's a missing drive belt. Yeah, so there we go. There's what's going on. A little drive belt that's aged and just fallen apart. So I have no idea, and yep, here's the other one. Found the other one in there. So these two clear drive belts that have failed. And it looks like one drives the entry and then the other drives the exit wheel. And so that's what's broken in this thing. So let me go see if I can find anything online on these. All right, so I've measured one of these, and best I can tell, this is a 3mm diameter, about 1/8 inch diameter, urethane O-ring drive belt. So I've got to order some urethane drive belt, and basically I can get it off of Amazon, it looks like, in maybe 10, 15 bucks I can make one of these. So basically I'll have to measure it out, cut it, and then to splice it together, you kind of have to heat up both ends on something and then mush together once it's melted. But yeah, both of those O-rings just dry rotted away as this thing has sat. Again, these are not new systems. These are old machines. Again, these are really interesting construction overall, because again, big casting, I think, at the bottom. And like I said, I think this is just aluminum. No, I'm wrong. So this is plastic. All right, so the top of checked this. This is all one big piece of molded plastic. This, if I trim into it, looks like a painted plastic of some sort. Now this big plate on top, that does not feel like plastic. And okay, so this piece is aluminum. This is what fooled me into thinking the whole thing might be aluminum. It's because this plate, this is the plate that the forms slide across. It is definitely aluminum. Everything else looks like this big tub at the bottom is plastic molding, and then the big piece on top is plastic molding. So here, this would appear to be the input power supply. So you've got your mains voltage coming in, giant old school transformer. And then this apparently looks like power supply. Then that's feeding into, this appears to be the main control board. Gigantic, beefy EMI protection filter there. And last but not least, here is the main board in all its glory. Don't even have an idea of what's going on here. There's just a bunch of junk. You know, this is what you get with old stuff. Just a whole bunch of discrete chips. I don't know what they all do. I don't know if this stuff is memory or what. I'm pretty sure there's the buzzer, because this thing does have a big buzzer on it. But yeah, I mean, just tons of crap on here. All right, well, that's about all I can do for now. I'm going to order that urethane cord to make new drive belts, and that'll take a few days to get in. I can go ahead and I can replace the O-rings that should probably be there on the output pulley. Again, I'm assuming that they need to be there just because there's ones on that. If function testing this thing shows that they're not necessary, I can easily just cut those back off or just pull them back off, because this thing just lifts right up. Yeah, so that's where I'm gonna pause. I will come back when I get those belts and see if I can fit them and make this thing work. All right, here goes nothing. To do this, you've got to hold it together until it solidifies, and it can take a bit. And now, I didn't quite get them lined up as perfectly as I'd like, but just for testing, I'm going to trim this one and see how it does. And that'll tell me whether I need to redo it, whether it's going to work at all. We'll give it a shot. All right, so I managed to get this thing repaired, and what it took putting on these new polyurethane little belts. And basically the way I made those is I measured out a length of 3mm polyurethane cord, and then you just melt the ends together. So these were about 8.5 inches is what I used as far as the length, and then when you melt the ends together, you lose a little bit. I'm not sure what the official length of these little polyurethane belts was supposed to be. It's somewhere around 200 to 225 millimeters, somewhere in there. But that's what I used. And then I replaced the O-rings and all the little roller wheels. So the O-rings ended up being 21 millimeters ID, 26 millimeters OD. So that's a 2.5 millimeter thickness O-ring. They were metric. So the little drive belt down here I didn't replace. It looks fine. It's a Gates power grip, and the exact belt is a 120 XL025. So that's like a 1/4 inch width belt, but again, it looks fine. So let me show you what's going on and how this thing works. So you've got your scanning system right here, and that's what reads your Scantron. So whenever you feed a form in, it feeds into the rollers, and then it will read these answers. So that's what, you know, the basic roller system. There's a roller wheel here, here, and here, and the front entry really, I think, is just there to keep the form oriented and flat whenever it goes into the feed system. There's not really a whole lot else going on up here except for all these roller wheels are mounted on springs so that they can adjust to thickness and stuff like that. And so the drive wheels are all driven through this pulley system. Again, you got the main drive belt and then these little polyurethane belts to drive the accessory feed wheels. Now, the really interesting stuff to me happens in the marking system, because whenever you run a Scantron through and it goes to grade it, it puts a bunch of little red marks where you've missed a question, and it'll print out how many you got correct at the bottom of the form. You can also use item analysis sheets. So if you make an exam, and you want to see, you know, whether any questions were bad or something like that, this will give you summary data on how many correct answers were on each question for the entire exam administration. You can get class average and stuff like that also on this, and it prints the numbers all the same row. So there is some printing going on this thing, and so here's how that works. So for the marking system, there's a couple of things on the front to show you. There's a red wheel here, and then there's another red wheel down in here that you can probably barely see. Let me see if I can tilt, because I've got this panel unscrewed. So yeah, you can see there's another red wheel down at the bottom. So those are ink wheels, and they seem to just be completely saturated with red ink. I don't know if this thing's ever had the wheels replaced, but you can get replacement wheels. So they're not like permanent ink, but they are very long-lived. This machine was designed in the 90s and the manual says 1998. I don't know exactly when this one was manufactured, but it's been in use for a long time and I don't think those have ever been replaced. So let me flip the plate out. And now we can look at what's on the back. So you can see there's a big chunkin' motor-driven fan. And so this is the motor that drives the whole system. And it looks like they've just put a fan on it to help keep everything cool. And this is what's on the back side from those two wheels. You can see down at the bottom. So this is a little solenoid and I can push and it will kind of go in and out. And so that's the solenoid that basically whenever a form feeds in, it fires this solenoid and that's what marks the incorrect answers. Now then you've got this big assembly over here and this is a set of solenoids and it looks like there's 7 of them. And this is a dot matrix printer. Now I do see right here, there's some indication that this thing might have been either worked on or manufactured in 2005. There's a date 11/03/05, but it says B&J coating. So I don't know if that's been a refurbishment or if that was the actual manufacturer of this particular part. But yeah, so you've got these 7 solenoids and basically there's going to be pins that feed into the front. So when one of these solenoids fires, it's going to push the paper into that ink wheel and make a little dot. And so since you got 7 of them, this thing can print characters 7 dots high in any character you want, basically. And so again, it's just a little dot matrix printer. And if I get you down in here on the control board, it even has this plug and it's labeled printer. And you can see a set of 7, what looks to be MOSFETs or something up here. I haven't actually looked up the exact part, but there's 7 of them. So I'm guessing that's the control for those solenoids to fire. You've got another one over here, which I suspect may be for the incorrect marker, because it would also need a MOSFET to drive power to that solenoid. These chips here, these big suckers, look to just be some sort of interfacing, and I'm not exactly sure what they're for. I mean, again, this thing is old, so it's hard to know exactly why they did everything they did. They've got a bunch of junk on here. I don't figure a modern one has quite this much complexity. Then these 2 larger chips here, one is the RAM module, and I believe this is the ROM that probably has the programming. It's a STM part. It actually has a little sticker that says 88P plus on it, so I'm guessing that's the one that has the program. So you got a buzzer and I don't know, a whole bunch of other little junk that I'm not really sure what all that stuff's for. This thing can be programmed somewhat for different, question types and form types and stuff like that. But, it's not as complicated as, a computer or anything like that. So there's a small amount of programming available, but nothing crazy. So let me throw this thing back together real quick and we'll do a little demo and show you that it's back to working. All right, I'll run one form through without the cover on so that you can watch this thing operate. And so I'm gonna run the key so that it doesn't get all marked up. Whenever you run a key, you just bubble in a thing that tells it that it's the form for the key. And all it will do is just write the number of questions down at the bottom. So turn it on. The beeping is normal. So whenever this thing comes out, it prints a 10 because there are 10 questions that I bubbled in on this. And again, if I look really closely at these characters, they're exactly 7 dots high, which again, the way that dot matrix printer works is basically poking the back of this form, and those 7 pins are all going to be in a line coming out of there. It may look like they're all configured weird on the back, but those dot matrix printers use thin little pins that they can then orient however they want on the output. So basically they'll just put 7 of them in a row, and as this thing passes through, it can put dots positionally, whatever it wants, because it's all going to be synced with the timing of how fast this thing goes, I assume. So now let's put the cover on and I'll run the exam so we can watch what it does on the output as well. So this thing's pretty simple as far as the controls. There's not much going on. All the programming is done via the sheets. You just got a on-off button, and it resets every time you turn it off. So if you turn it on, run an exam key, and program it for certain types of questions, and then turn it back off, and once you turn it back on, you will have to rerun that program key, or else it'll just lose its memory. So you turn it on and off, and then this just changes left-right direction, so it can run stuff back and forwards. And I guess that can also be probably helpful if something jams up, you can try to retract it. All right, so let's run the key. It's pretty accurate because I've already ran this form, and when it prints back, it really doesn't blur that much. So it's pretty good at keeping track of where that form is in there. So that's the sound it makes. I mentioned it fires that solenoid to put red marks, and so I've made some errors on this, and so it puts red hash marks to mark the forms that are incorrect. And it prints the number correct there, so 7 correct, 3 false. And then it's got these item analysis forms. And then you're done, and on these you can see it prints, hey, there was 1 form processed, the class average was 7, because there was only 1 form, and then it marks how many incorrect answers there were on each question that was graded. And I've noticed that if you line these up, the numbers that are printed here obviously line up with the numbers printed here on this form because it's only got the little dot matrix printer in there. So that's all there is to this. I've made some extra belts so that if this thing ever wears out, I can repair it again. And we actually have another one of these machines that I haven't opened up that is also having problems. And so now that I know what one looks like, I know that there's really not that much to it. There's just a few O-rings. There are polyurethane belts that you can make yourself, and then the little Gates belt, which it's pretty easy to find replacements for that. Other than that, I don't know what else could really go wrong. You can replace the ink wheels in these, and they're built, again, very, very sturdy. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hope it was interesting. I thought it was interesting. But if you got any questions, feedback, or comments, as always, feel free to leave them down below. Otherwise, I appreciate your time.